Good morning. Welcome to Cooking with Bobbi Jo. I'm not cooking today. I'm just going to take you on a walk to my backyard. Everything's frosted over this morning. I'm still battling the second round of this virus. This is my maple tree. I have some irises planted in this flower garden around the maple tree and I only got halfway done putting the ring around it. I ran out of supplies and I ran out of energy, so hopefully I'll finish that in the spring. I like this tree. Look at the little pine cones on this tree. Aren't those cute? All of this week's videos are going to be outside and bird related. If you're looking for cooking videos, I'm sorry, I don't have any. And I won't have any this week. Hopefully I'll get back to it next week. Well, I take that back. There will be one video. I will be making homemade bird suet on Wednesday. I have a video of that I'll be posting. I won't be posting any human food cooking videos. I'm doing better with the virus as far as my sore throat and cough, but I'm still dealing with some severe fatigue, brain fog, body aches. But if you want to see a cooking video, just go to my playlist. I have a lot of videos you can go check out, or go check out some other channels. Go check out Anna with Cookin' the Books. She does recipes from vintage cookbooks and reviews the cookbooks. I love her channel because I like vintage. And I guess I'm kind of vintage myself now that I'm old enough to be considered vintage. And there's a lot more channels out there to check. Just that one was fresh on my mind because I just watched it. This is White Lily, my car, and she is frozen over. So this is my little piece of Tennessee. We have a little under an acre lot here. And that big chestnut tree, that thing produces thousands of chestnuts every fall. And as you notice, we haven't raked the leaves. My grandma Tommy used to say they're called leaves because you're supposed to leave them. I'm on board with that because that's less work for me. I mean, it makes sense. It makes more sense than raking them all up, putting them in plastic bags, and then hauling them off to the dump. And then people will turn around and go to the store and buy bunches of bags of mulch to put back over their flower gardens and stuff when the leaves do the same thing. I mean, leaves form a natural mulch that fertilizes the soil as it breaks down. Here's my Bobbi Jo. I took the dogs out to potty this morning and she would not go back in because she loves the cold weather. But she is part Newfie. These are my blueberry bushes. They look like twigs. Hopefully we'll get some growth into them this year. I also have a grapevine that goes over this arbor. This is my garden area. That's where I cut all my broccoli heads off, left the leaves. Got some cabbage down there that never really produced anything. I may throw it out here and see if the rabbits want it because we have a lot of rabbits. And this bird bath, it has been frozen solid since the first week of January. We have had cold weather for weeks now. That's very unlike Tennessee, but I think it's supposed to warm up into the 50s today, so it may thaw out a little. You know, and I understand needing to rake your leaves where you normally walk. When the leaves get wet, they get very slippery, so it's best to rake those out of the way so you don't fall down and hurt yourself. Down here is my bird feeding area. And I have flowers planted in all this. This entire area has perennials, so they'll come back up in the spring and summer. So here's all of my bird feeders. And I usually put water in this one, but you see the water's frozen solid. So we'll fix that in a few minutes. So a lot of critters rely on leaves for food. They rely on it for nesting material, shelter. There's also moth and butterfly caterpillars that overwinter in fallen leaves and then they emerge in the spring. So there's many reasons to just leave the leaves until springtime, and that's what I'm doing this year in honor of my grandmother. That's our big fenced-in backyard. The dogs love it. It's a lot bigger than it was at the other house. The other house, our backyard was all woods. We were like our house was like built into a ridge, so it went straight downhill and it was all woods. So we fenced in the front yard for the dogs, and it was not a very big yard. Our front yard over here is a lot bigger than it was at the other house. And that's all they had to run around in was that small front yard. So when we moved over here and we fenced in this backyard, they were extremely happy to have so much room to run. I wanted to fence in the entire backyard, but that was going to cost way too much money. So we went from each corner of the house back. So I've seen many different birds in my backyard this year because I've left the leaves. We have flocks of birds stop in just to dig through the leaves looking for food. I'll throw a video clip in that I took yesterday of some birds they just stopped in. It was a whole flock of birds. They just stopped in to just go through the leaves to see what they could find to eat. So this is my homemade bird bath. It is just a terracotta flower pot turned upside down, and then I put this flower pot drainage tray on top, and then I put a rock that I found in the yard goes in that to hold it in place. So I'm just going to dump the ice out and then try to get the ice off the rock. And I have a gallon jug of water that I refill daily, and I'm going to pour it in here. Birds still need water when everything's frozen. We have a family of bluebirds living back here. There's actually a couple of them sitting up in the tree above me. They're waiting for fresh water. And bluebirds have everything they need to survive here. They have shelter. They have food because I leave the leaves so they can find worms under the leaves. They also got mealworms up in the bird feeder. And they have water. And I'm going to take the ice out of this one, and I'm going to fill it back up. And see, the ice is not solid like it was yesterday, so it's already warming up more than it did yesterday. I'm going to fill that up, and any water I have left over I'm going to pour back down here in this bird bath. Okay, so I'm going to set up the GoPro above the bird bath and see if we can catch a bluebird drinking from it. I'm going to go sit over on the patio with the dogs, because as long as the dogs are on this side of the yard, the birds usually will not come. Bobbi Jo loves to chase birds. So I'm going to see if we can get a bluebird on film, and then I'll be back in a few minutes to finish up. I hope you enjoyed that cute little bluebird. I'm going to put out some ground seed for the squirrels, and a lot of birds prefer eating from the ground feeders. And there's enough trees and places to hide around here that they can shelter quickly if a hawk is in the area. We do have quite a few hogs. Well, that's basically what I try to do every morning, especially since I know all the water is frozen. I'm going to set up my GoPro on the feeders to see what kind of birds visit the backyard today. Maybe we'll see something new. I'll share that on Friday's episode of the Lake Hill City Birds. Stay tuned Wednesday, where I'll be showing you how to make some homemade bird suet and some ways to make suet feeders out of pine cones. Thanks for watching. As always, have a very blessed day.